And I have to tell you, every week I have so much fun because I get to meet people that inspire, that motivate others, that really make this community better. They really are enlightening us and me as well. And I am thrilled to welcome Ubah Ali. She is one of our newer reporters. Ubah, how long have you been here?
I would say I started in March, so nearly 7 months.
Okay, it's
It
nearly
flew
7 months. Well, I've been at home. I'm back in the office now, so
Yes.
it's nice that I'm able to see you in person. And I have to say, you are making history as we speak because you are the first on-air reporter in Wisconsin to wear a hijab, and I just think that's wonderful. Can you tell
Yeah.
me what went through your decision to continually wear it? Because I know it wasn't something you were always going to do.
Yeah, I think honestly, what it was is I was interning at Care 11, and I would wear it one day, I would come in without it one day, and one of my mentors there said, "Hey, do you have a look?" And I'm like, what do you mean?" And then she was like, "Well, you kind of want to have a consistent look, so when you do make it into this industry, your viewers know this is who Uba is." And I knew that I wanted to wear it full time down the line, so I was like, you know what? Why not wear it now on TV, with the hopes of continuously wearing it as I get older?
Yeah, well,
So I think that was really what drove that decision for me.
but and I think it's good because I think we all have to express ourselves in whatever way we are and who we are. And this is really, and I was reading some of the articles on you. I did my research on you, and one thing you said, this is who I am. So why not? It makes perfectly good sense. Now, Uba, you're only 25 years old,
Yeah.
and that astonishes me because you're sure you're so bright, you're so effervescent. Can you tell me, but you grew up here in the United States, but you were born in Kenya, correct?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
your parents are of Somali descent.
Correct.
And now, what would you like people to know about some of the misconceptions about Muslims? Because I think this is a big problem in our country. And is there anything you can shed some light on for us?
Yeah, in terms of misconceptions, I think a lot of those misconceptions were driven by the terror attacks on 9/11, right? And I was 4 years old, so I really don't know much about life before. I only know life after. So I think, when people walk by, and I honestly haven't really been in situations like that because growing up I didn't wear it, so it's really hard to like just looking at me without my hijab on to know that I'm Muslim and I'm a practicing Muslim. So I think it's just people, when you walk by, or anything happens, I think just get really weary about anything that happened after the 9/11 terror attacks. But I can assure you, at least for myself, I don't feel like I'm any different than you or anyone else, other than, I feel like everyone should have the ability to practice their religion freely and openly, and I don't feel like my hijab should make anyone feel uncomfortable. Just like every woman should, and everyone should have the right to dress however they want, I should too. So I feel like if you really dive in and remove those layers of misconceptions, we're just human, and you and I are and really the same if you think about it. So
You're absolutely right. And one of the things, if you're hearing laughter, Uba is in the newsroom, so and so people are planning the day. So we forgive us for that. But and I think that's right, Uba. We have to remember that we are all the same. This is America, anyhow. So we
mhm,
have the right to express ourselves whatever way we want to, and that is why we
absolutely.
live in this democracy. And having grown up, I grew up in Turkey, so I was used to
Oh,
learning about people from different cultures, and ultimately it's just everybody just wants to be nice, be kind, and be
mhm.
good. That's really the message to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally echo that exact sentiment.
I was reading that you were here with your sister. You're living with your sister,
Yes.
and she said some wonderful things about you. You actually now she says that you inspire her because you took care of. You're one of 8 children,
Hmm.
and you helped to raise all of the kids because your parents were working.
Yeah.
I think that for a sibling to say something like that, and she said that you are really such a role model, that has to make you feel good.
Yeah, and the good thing about it is I wasn't coerced. I didn't have to pay her to say that.
That would be mine.
Yeah. I think it really goes to show I wasn't too hard on them, but I think what it really came down to was, um, lead by example. So I tried to do that as best as I could. And that's, coming home, just doing your work, volunteering whenever you could. And I think once your siblings see that, they start to emulate that and they fall in love with that. So I volunteered at the Ronald McDonald House. She did too. And she just loves kids. And then she became a daycare teacher. So I think it's just this effect on people. I think if you lead by example, people will really be drawn to that and find themselves in the way you are.
Well said. And I think sometimes we want to preach and talk and do all of this, but really the best way to do it is just,
To do it.
be a role model, do it the right
Mhm.
way. Now, I also know you also were over your siblings' studies. I mean, you check up on them to make sure that they do
Oh
their
yeah.
homework. Now, I'm very impressed with that. So you're
Yeah.
a real taskmaster for education.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And I think, obviously my parents, my mom had, she finished high school and then the civil war in Somalia happened and then they had to all flee to Kenya, where I was born. But I think for her, English wasn't always easy for her. So knowing that it was easy for me and I came here when I was 1, it was really easy for me to pick up on it. And she needed help in certain things, whether it's just, going to conferences and stuff like that. And I think, um, even doctor's appointments, the doctors would get to know
Yes.
me because she would never need an interpreter because why would she? I'm here. And even to this day, she's, an amazing businesswoman. She really started from the bottom up, and her English is immaculate now. But from the beginning, I think we just kind of really worked together. And I think my siblings love the fact that I was able to fill in those gaps that my mother couldn't at the time, whether it was because of the English barrier or because she was working. I was able to fill in those gaps, and not be like gun ho on them, but still be like, hey, I'm your sister, but we still got to get this done and talk to them on their level.
And it's like you're bicultural, and that I've learned that young people like you are so much more mature and so well versed in life because of what the role you've played,
Hmm.
speaking both languages and navigating through a new world for your
Right.
parents. So
Hmm.
that's
Absolutely.
I find that fascinating. Now, Uba, I know you're only 25,
Yeah.
but can I ask you what are some of your goals in life? I know that you really have you really you're not satisfied just staying status quo. You have
Yes.
some goals. Can you share those with us?
I do. Ultimately, I do see myself becoming an international reporter wherever. I think when I never knew what journalism was growing up because there really wasn't people that looked like me. I knew I liked to talk a lot and I talked a lot. And my parents could tell you I never was quiet. I would always ask these questions and I just never knew what it was. And then I started watching Christiane Amanpour and just her questions and her on the ground. And I was like, this is what I want to do. But I didn't know, obviously, you have to start somewhere to get somewhere. So I have to start in local news. But my aspirations is one day to be able to be on the grounds in Egypt, be on the grounds in Iraq, even in Somalia, and tell these stories that matter to people there. And this is just another stepping stone to get to that.
Well, that's wonderful, and I understand your mother had a few reservations though about
Yeah.
you getting in this business. What
Oh,
did,
yeah.
what, what did she tell you?
So when I first told her, she was like, I think just with any parent, the easier route, doctor, engineer, lawyer, those jobs, and if you go to school for those are immediate ways to be able to land a job and have a great career. But so this was coming in out of left field. She was like, what? And then, so she didn't say no. And obviously, even if she said no, I was not going to allow anyone to tell me or dictate what I was going to do. But she said, you know what, if this is what you want to do, you have to be ready for heartaches and you also have to be ready for triumphs. And I understood that it wasn't going to be easy, but I was going to have to make it happen. So once I graduated with mass comm and a minor in international relations, it took me about 8 9 months, almost a year, to find a job. And I knew my capabilities were there. And sometimes it would get weary. And I think it was only because of my hijab. But my mom was like, you know what, if it's meant for you, it'll be. And then I remember one day, just on Facebook, and I saw that my good friend now, Tahir Rahman, broke the glass ceiling and she became the first hijabi. And I believe it was in the Moline, Rockford area. And I knew from then on, it's going to happen. It's just going to take some time, just like it took her some time. And then I got a call from my previous boss at a TV station in Rochester. And when he said, would you love to join our team? I was just elated. And I think it's just been, I don't ever want anyone to think that this is holding me back. I'm just trying to tell your story. I'm really trying to meet you where you are. So that's and now she always tells people, "Yeah, my daughter is on TV," and she's really proud. But I think every mom is going to be reserved when their daughter says, "I want to do something that has never been done."
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm so impressed with your tenacity and your perseverance. And yeah, I know that you said it took you about 8 months to find a job, but that's actually pretty typical. So
Mhm.
it took me about, I think, almost a year.
Oh, yeah.
So it takes a while to
Yeah.
get into this business, and you just have to be willing to stick it out. But I'm so happy for you, and I'm so happy that you're here representing what, representing not only your culture, but showing the beautiful cultural diversity in this country
Mhm.
that we can
Mhm.
have. And what does it mean to you to possibly be a role model, Ubah, to other young ladies who are out there in the Milwaukee area right now?
Yeah, I ran into a few, young Somali girls at a rally that I was at, and I think they were just so shocked. And I think I really want them to know that if you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything. Will it take time? Yes. Will there be heartache? Yes. Will there be days you cry for no reason? Yes. But as long as you tell yourself, I can do this and I can persevere, you can do it. No one can get in your way, and you can continue to, shatter the glass ceiling, and just get so far in life, honestly.
Well, it's just wonderful. I'm just so happy that you're here. And I know you're only 25, but since you're so mature, I have to ask you one question that I ask almost everybody.
Okay.
What would you say, Ubah, is your purpose in life?
That's a really good question. And I'm going to tell you like this, I still don't know fully, but I hope um, my purpose and what I leave behind is that I'm someone who is, has integrity and is someone who can meet people where they are in their hardest moments, in their happiest moments, and I can really remove all the layers and just talk to them as a being, as a human being. And I really hope that once I leave this earth, it's still a long way to go, hopefully,
Yeah.
that I can leave that behind and people will remember me for that. And I'm sure the older I get, my purpose will change in life. But right now, I think that's the best answer I've got, Carol.
Well, I think that's a beautiful answer. Basically, humanity, heart, and building
Yeah,
bridges, which is something we all
absolutely.
need to think about. And a lot of people don't think about their purpose.
Yeah,
And I think it's something that everybody should do. That's just my own personal belief. So, for everybody, well, Ubah, thank you for for joining me for lunch with Carol. One day, maybe we'll have real food.
yeah. We were just
We'll
talking
be
about
at
that.
lunch. Wouldn't that be
Yeah,
fun? So we'll
yeah,
do that. But everybody, thank you for joining us. This was Ubah Ali. A pleasure to talk to you and get to know you even better. And you'll be
yeah.
seeing her on TMJ4 on
Yep.
many stories that we have, and really letting us know what's going on. And
Absolutely. And
it's
reach
important.
out, connect with me, head to TMJ4. You can see my bio. You can connect with me on socials. I'd love to hear from you. So,
Yes, and since you like to talk, then we'll
yeah,
keep
it will be
going. Well,
easy.
thank you, everybody, and have a great day. And we'll see you next Wednesday at 12:30.